Alabama's putting it on Georgia, 54-25 after 20 minutes of basketball. The last time this Alabama team lost, they lost to Oklahoma in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. Responded the very next game against Vanderbilt, led that one by 28 on the way to a 57-point win. We'll see what happens here, but I just haven't seen any weakness with Alabama here in the first half.
Yeah, you don't want to follow a loss by Alabama.
That's bad news.
The thing that comes across out of everything that's happened, but they're playing great. I mean, they're doing it at all phases, all levels, and they're just starts with the best player, and Brandon Miller came out, and it was, thank you, sir, can I have another? Thank you, sir, can I have another? I mean, it's just driving and getting to the lane from three, just unguardable with the spacing that they do, the ability to put it on the deck, the ability to stretch the defense. You can see why a lot of people say he may be the best player, not only in the SEC, but in the country.
Well, he and Sears combined for 33 points in that first half as Alabama shot 64%. The only blemish, probably the free throws, just 4 of 8 at the line. 14 assists on 20 made baskets. Those two young men, 7 of the 10 3-pointers for the Crimson Tide. Alabama held Georgia to 30%. Georgia just 1 of 8 on their 3-point tries. Here's Sears. Kick it to Clowney. They start the second half much like they started the first half.
They want to push that ball screen down, but these guards are just getting direct line drives and getting in there, and they're just too strong. And when you start drawing help, and you got shooters, you got problems.
Here's Hill. That one's blocked by Bediako. Starts the surge the other way. Bradley. Miller can't get it to go. Clowney is there.
Just so long at every position. I mean, you and I were talking about it, just watching him and shoot around, and you see it on TV, but TV doesn't do it justice. And the length, and Coach White talked about it from a roster standpoint. It's one of the better rosters that he's ever seen.
Well, Mike White said a couple of things. We can't turn it over, and we have to really rebound the ball like we have it all year, and that just hasn't happened. Alabama's out-rebounded Georgia by 10 here, as we are just a minute and a half into the second half. Braylon Bridges spins and loses it out of bounds.
He was the one area where we thought maybe coming in, Dave, that he could present a problem if they could get it to him consistently and if he could go to work. But again, it's a monumental task with the length and the depth of Alabama.
Bediako.
I mean, how do you guard him? I mean, they throw over the top, they shoot over the top, they lob it, they drive it. It's just hard for me to sit here and watch this as they have 61 points and think that they got 59 in a game against Tennessee. I mean, that's a credit to Tennessee. But if you just told me that and I didn't see it, I'd find that hard to believe.
Roberts, Bediako all over him. A little step back by Terry Roberts.
And if you're Georgia, you just got to keep playing. I mean, you just got to get out there and compete. Try to get better.
A little bit short. Tapped around, but Bediako keeps it alive. Here's Sears, baseline, back to Bediako. He'll try it from 3, air ball. Bridges with the basketball. Bediako on the year is now 0 for 6.
0 for 6. He was feeling like he was due, Dave. I mean, why not?
Yeah. Everybody else making him. Boy, big screen by Bridges on Sears. Roberts tied up. Another tough shot. There's Miller with the rebound. Brandon with 3 of those and those 18 points. And a trip.
You kind of get by the length of Bediako. Then you run into the length of Clowney. And then you got Miller. And it looked like Roberts was going to have a shot there. Going to have a little attempt at the rim, and then it just goes dark.
Boy, in a game when it's 61-27, Nate Oates doesn't waste any time. He saw his star player kind of limp a little bit, like he got tweaked. Immediately goes to the bench, brings in Welch, who slices past Oquendo. That didn't take long for Dom to get on the board in the second half. He'll head to the free throw line, and Alabama now with 17 assists tonight, just 5 turnovers.
Yeah, just falling asleep on the backside, letting the guy back cut you, not getting towards the ball, not seeing the ball, not seeing your man. Next thing you know, it's too late.
So Welch playing in his 13th game of the year for Alabama. Converts the three-point opportunity. 6 of 8 at the line on the year. Eder to the bench. Hill on the floor for Georgia. UGA's lone win last year in conference play. Their only win was against Alabama. I got a feeling Nate Oates might have brought that up at some point this week.
There might have been a little video on that.
Sears, that's a deep 3 off the front of the rim. There's Bediako again. Takes it himself, and he's fouled by Holt. And Charles Bediako will head to the free throw line. Alabama looking every bit the #1 team.
He called Coach Roy Skinner into his office and said, "We've integrated the university. You can recruit a black player. And in fact, I would like you to." And Skinner was a decent enough man that he didn't resist that.
Perry Wallace would be the first African-American basketball player to commit to a Southeastern Conference school.
He was a man of immense dignity without being a stuffed shirt. He was fun to be around. And I think he understood his place in history.
Perry was a student of the Civil Rights Movement even as a young man. Perry, when he was 12 years old, it was 1960, and he went downtown to Fifth Avenue to watch the lunch counter sit-ins with his own eyes. He wanted to see history being made.
Joining him would be Godfrey Dillard, a talented guard from Detroit. The two embarked on their historic journey in the fall of 1966.
That was a high for us.
A tremendous moment of glory for the basketball program at the University of Georgia.
One guy on there, he didn't know what country we were from. I just wanted to tell him, we was from the SEC.
Well, our next Southern Hoops, a history of SEC basketball, part 4 of our 7-part documentary, looks at 1980 through 89. Georgia's Dominique Wilkins and Auburn's Charles Barkley headline the conference's rise. Dale Brown at LSU. Pat Summitt over at Tennessee, her 2 national titles. These have just been amazing. I mean, truly amazing. A history lesson on what has been a great basketball league over the years. It'll continue Monday night, 9 Eastern, right here on the SEC Network and the ESPN app. Of course, Georgia's only Final Four was in 1983. They beat North Carolina 82-77 in that East Regional. Michael Jordan went off for 26 and 6, but James Banks and company too much for the Tar Heels as they win it by 5 and make it all the way to the Final Four. Of course, that was a non-Dominique Wilkins Georgia basketball team.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about it. I mean, They go to the Final Four after losing Dominique, and I came out of high school the same year as James Banks, played in the McDonald's game with him, terrific player. Played on the Olympic team with Vern Fleming, another
outstanding Georgia
incredible
player.
player. I mean, just it's no secret. It wasn't a fluke. They had some ballers now.
How about Bediako stepping to the line? He has really struggled at the free throw line this year. Looks quite calm at the line. Making both of those. He came in just a 33% foul shooter on the year, 12 of 36. Nice job by Moncrief. Got way underneath the basket, able to
like the strength of Hill, being able to get in there and get low and keep his dribble. No help coming from Alabama, so he just sized him up, made a terrific feed.
Boy, Welch earning some minutes. Good effort there on the offensive glass.
Then you kind of get him to shoot the shot you would like, a deep three off of one pass, probably not the shot they want. And it's cleaned up.
Moncrief spins. Left hand short, tapped around a couple of times. Here's Welch again. Roberts saved it right back to Dom and intercepted there by Holt. Holt on Quinterly, the ex-teammates, and this time Juice Holt wins the battle.
Good read by Holt. Good poise in the open floor.
It'll stay with Alabama.
You get good rotation, good hands. Probably not the best pass, but again, the little Euro, up and under, nice play.
Burnett had it, lost it, got it back. Give him the basket.
Just everybody who comes in, the physicality of them, the strength, just to be able to give the blow instead of receiving the blow when they go to the rim. It's very impressive.
Hill can't get it to go. Javon Quinterly into the corner. Burnett taps it to Clowney and fouled there by Anselem. Free throws coming up. Well, we talk about how good Alabama is, and you just wonder on the other side, like what's going through Mike White's mind, and how do you try to just salvage something out of this?
Just try to get something positive so that what you don't want to do, Dave, is come out of this game and this is a loss and it turns into 2-3. You got to find a way to try to get something positive going here in the second half, whatever it may be. And then try to wash this one away, probably not even watch the film. Start getting ready for your next one. But boy, that's a helpless feeling. I mean, because you're throwing the kitchen sink at this team, personnel-wise and then scheme-wise. And at the end of the day, you just don't have enough athletes, enough length, enough shooting. It doesn't matter.
Clowney to the bench. Wonder if we're done with.
I would be surprised if we see
some of these starters back on the floor. Brandon Miller left a moment ago. He has 18 points. Loose basketball, and it'll stay with Georgia. Maybe a game to get Javon Quinterly going. I mean, give him a few opportunities. He's kind of been in that space where you're not quite sure where he's going.
Yeah, he came back, just his rehab was incredible from the knee. Came back earlier than anybody expected. Just as healthy as can be. A lot of it, I think, is getting comfortable between the ears. And again, I think, trying not to do too much. I think where he gets in trouble with his turnovers and his penetration and things is when he tries to do too much. Like right there, great extra pass, just made the play that was presented to him.
It's a deep three by Burnett. Georgia corrals the rebound. Boy, if they could get Quinterly going, before, he was averaging 13.5 points a game last year, over 4 assists, 12th in the conference in scoring, 8th in assists as Georgia rattles the rim as it still shakes after the Anselm two-pointer. But if they can get him another weapon, not that they need any more than they have, but certainly you can take all you can to the tournament.
Well, you can see right here, you spread the floor, and he's a guy that can get in there. I mean, he showed it last year, showed it that he can get in there and make plays. He can beat you off the bounce. And again, it's a spacing nightmare defensively. I mean, when you're locked up one-on-one with a guy like Quinterly and guys got to stay at home on shooters, it's not where you want to be.
Oquendo, nice take to the basket, and he'll head to the free throw line. This Alabama team is so talented. Matter of fact, one of the numbers that jumped out at me, they have won 10 SEC games by double digits. This will be number 11. I'm making a bold statement, assuming they're going to win this by double digits. I know. But they would tie the school record for that particular stat, winning SEC games by double figures. Would be their 11th. They would actually match the 1956 team that also won 11 games by double digits.
I played against them.
You might have. Here's Quinterly. Pringle.
Again, they just downhill. Defensively, if you can't stay and contain and stay in front of the dribbler and keep it out of the lane, you have no shot. Nobody has a shot against these guys.
How about Quinterly now up to 6 assists in this game?
When Nate said that he wanted him to show that he could handle the ball, he's coming off 6 turnovers versus Tennessee. I think he got the message.
Roberts with a nice basket for the Dogs. Terry Roberts off the bench with 10, 4 rebounds, couple assists for Terry. And he comes away with the steal. 2-on-1. Hill takes it himself, and they're going to call a blocking foul. That's going to go against Rylan Griffin. And a 3-point opportunity coming up. Crimson Tide in complete control. Alabama looking great. When we come back, we'll spend a moment talking about one of Alabama's best. Wendell Hudson on the other side. Well, Wendell Hudson was the first black scholarship athlete at the University of Alabama, playing for Coach C.M. Newton beginning with the 1969-70 season. Hudson averaged a career double-double with 19 and 13. Was the team's first SEC Player of the Year in '73. Drafted in the second round of the '73 draft by the Bulls, and had his jersey permanently honored in the rafters here at Coleman Coliseum back in 2020. Just a great athlete, great man. Of course, came back to coach the women's team for a while, and Wendell just a great representative of this university. For more Black History storytelling and coverage, stream the Black History Always collection on ESPN+. There, speaking of legends, there's one there. Herbert Jones in attendance, plays for the Pelicans, but the NBA All-Star break going on, an opportunity to come back, and they acknowledged him during that last timeout. Even the great Nick Saban with a standing ovation. Again, hard not to like Herbert Jones.
Yeah, I mean, he would have, you talk about, he was just, you could do it all. I mean, he was just a guy that you could put on 5 different guys defensively, point guard, the center. I mean, he could point forward, he could play guard. Just made, I think, the thing that, when you look at guys like that, the guys that played with him were better players because of his ability to get them open shots, to cover for them defensively. That's when you know you have a great player, is that the guys around him flourish because of their presence.
Jones averaging almost 10 points a game, almost 4 rebounds as Alabama throws one down again. Nick Pringle with that basket. Pringle now up to 10. He is the 3rd Crimson Tide player in double figures. The man right here with the ball, Roberts with 10. He gives it to Bridges, who goes with the left hand, and Braylon, he's now in double figures with 10.
Hill and Roberts been doing a pretty good job of getting some deep penetration. Bridges has really benefited from it here in the second half.
Sears step back a little bit short, long rebound, another opportunity. Griffin swings it to the corner as Miller checks back in, and what does he do? Promptly buries another 3.
It's a great extra pass, had a good shot, gave it up for a better one.
Up to 21 now for Brandon Miller, the SEC's leading scorer. Came in averaging 18.7 a game. Oquendo. That won't go. Here's Miller again. This is his 10th 20-plus point game of the season for Brandon Miller. Here's Sears. Swinging around the perimeter to Griffin.
Boy, Dave, you look at him and you're going a freshman. And I mean, probably most of your freshmen who've been logging a lot of minutes in the SEC aren't truly freshmen anymore. But when you think about him being a true freshman and how he plays, it's pretty special.
17 now for Sears. Here's McBride. Oquendo. Catch and shoot. He knocks home the 3 over the outstretched hands of Noah Gurley.
Those are things that you hope if you're Georgia, somebody like Oquendo who struggled from the 3, maybe he can get a little bit of confidence going for games coming up.
Substitutions abound. On our next whistle, there will be a timeout taken by Georgia. Brandon Miller leading Alabama with 21. Brandon Miller up over 500 points in his freshman season. The quickest of any Alabama freshman in history to reach the 500-point plateau.
Just hammering Georgia right now. How about Alabama softball, 12th ranked team in all the land out in Florida, taking on Indiana up 6-0. But watch Kristen Smith, the freshman, up against the fence. It's got a little give. What a catch by Kristen Smith. Get to know that name out in center field for the Tide. They now lead at 8-0 on Indiana, guys.
Thanks, Star. It kind of gives me the opportunity to mention the Alabama baseball team. Went out there today, talked to Brad Bohannon, the head coach. They're off to a 2-0 start. Took down Richmond today. Baseball season. So Alabama feeling pretty good about things athletically right about now. And one other team to talk about is the Alabama Adapted Athletics, the wheelchair basketball team. Members of the Alabama basketball team were on hand for last night's Adapted Athletics wheelchair basketball matchup between Alabama and Auburn. The Tide took home an 86-62 win behind 52 points from Ignacio Ortega, who had a triple-double. The men's wheelchair basketball team fell in last season's national championship to UT Arlington, but has 3 national titles overall. The women's team, they've won 8 national titles. We talked to Brandon Miller about that today. He was one of the Alabama players out there supporting those guys. He said it was amazing, blew his mind. Had no idea how physical it was and how talented those guys were. I mean, setting screens, pick and roll, popping out for 3. Said it was unbelievable.
The enthusiasm that he talked about that game was just, again, you know, we talked about what a good person he is, and I mean, it just, he was so excited to be there and so looking forward to it, and you know that his presence there was such a lift for those individuals. Just great to see things like that.
Yeah, good on the Alabama basketball team to go out there and support those guys. Hill step back, knocks home the 3 there for Georgia.
I think if you're Georgia at this stage, you got to go like, look, man, if you're not going to guard, you're not going to play. I mean, a little late in the game, but again, finish the game. Finish, you know, play with some pride, play with some fight. You know, quit giving up layups and point-blank shots. Have a little resistance.
Moncrief grabbing the Pringle jersey a minute ago, whistled for that foul. Here's Burnett working on Eder. They're going to call an offensive foul. Burnett and Eder going at it on that drive, and Eder with his third charge drawn tonight.
Yeah, I don't like that one. I mean, I appreciate the effort and the willingness to take a charge when you're 38 down, but he threw his chest into him on that one.
Moncrief fouled by Pringle. Well, the Crimson Tide leading it by 38. Give us a chance to mention our basketball doubleheader on Wednesday night right here on the SEC Network. Vandy and Baton Rouge squaring off against LSU, trying to avoid a 15-game skid. That's 7 o'clock Eastern. Then Joe Lunardi has Auburn listed as an 8 seed. They host Ole Miss at 9 Eastern time, 8 Central. It's all right here on the SEC Network, and you can always find it on the ESPN app.
When you were over at baseball today, did you throw a little BP? Did you get out there and give him the old knuckle curve? Or
no, the maintenance guys were afraid I was going to break something like that when I walked into Coleman Coliseum. They don't let me touch the equipment. Here's Eder. $7:47 to go in this one. Alabama looking for their 13th conference win, their 23rd win overall.
He's a talent now.
Nice scramble. That foul on Burnett, said he grabbed him by the leg, I think was the comment. Let's see. Roberts and Burnett going at it. Oh, he did. He pulled his leg out. Good call. That's the second time.
I never touched him. Who knew?
Yeah. What they say, tape don't lie. Well, Patrick Evans twice has kind of seen something we didn't necessarily see.
That's a young fella.
Yeah. Griffin. Pringle, nice pass to a cutting Griffin, and he'll head to the free throw line.
Got your mind on something today?
Putting. I wonder how Tiger Woods is doing today. He made the cut out of LA.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yep.
Griffin off the back of the iron. Time out for our Mayhem Moment, brought to you by Allstate. And, well, there's a bunch to choose from, but this one was pretty impressive to Pringle.
Yeah, I mean, again, you get in that middle ball screen, and Bridges helps up the floor, which is a cardinal sin for any big. You gotta make the guy come to you, because if you do, that's what you're going to get. It's probably the easiest play in basketball. When a big helps up the floor on a guard, you're going to leave it for an easy dump or a lob for a dunk.
23 assists, a season high for Alabama. They've only turned it over 9 times. Georgia's did a nice job. They've only coughed it up 6 times, but they're shooting 39%. 9 of 20 from the free throw line, though, for Georgia.
Again, that's what Nate talked to us about, is that they're not high on the low.
Pringle misses what would have been one of the best highlights of the year for Alabama.
We'd have had to redo the Mayhem Moment. The double Mayhem moments on that one.
Blocks it, taps it to his teammate, Rylan Griffin.
Just so many players. Just so many players.
Pringle, the junior, transfer from Wofford.
He cocks this thing back. He was trying to hurt this backboard and just missed it.
Oh, look at his look. He was like, what? He had that first look like, oh, this is going to be incredible. And then it was like, oh, no.
Sports Center top 10.
And it was, oh, no. Alabama at the free throw line, 13 of 19. Abdur-Rahim can't get it to go. That's his third miss from behind the arc. It'll stay with Georgia.
Moving forward, they really got to have him and McBride make shots for them, something that hasn't happened today, because as you can see, the spacing on the floor when they don't make shots makes it very difficult for Hill and Roberts and Quindo to get to the basket. They need guys that can give them some spacing.
Adam Cottrell coming in the game, and crowd favorite, obviously. The ovation for him as he got up out of that bench and hustled to the scorer's table. He looks at the clock and he's got, I got 4:37 to get some shots up.
Man, I might get up double-figure shots. I don't see him passing. Get in now, young fella. Get him up.
Here's Griffin. Ryland. Pringle. Didn't miss that dunk.
When you put the shooters in the corner and a guy at the, it's basic dribble drive. I mean, they get downhill, you got to dump. Guys in the corner to shoot. Running it to perfection.
Another rebound for Pringle. He's now up to 11. 14 and 11 today for Nick Pringle.
Boy, Dave, this is where...
Oh, Pringle's having a day, despite the missed dunk.
This is where, as a coach, and you're Coach White, you gotta find a way to turn the table after this one. This is where you're gonna earn your money. You're Georgia's head coach.
Well, Brandon Miller became the third player in program history to reach the 500-point mark in his freshman season. He has 21 points today on 7 of 10 from the floor, 3 of 5 from behind the arc. He will join the likes of Colin Sexton and James Hollywood Robinson as 500-point scorers. But he is the quickest to reach that. It took him 27 games to reach that mark. It took Colin Sexton 28 games and Hollywood Robinson 30 games. I mean, when you got time, why not do the wave with the rest of the folks?
Here it comes. Come on. I feel like I'm back in the 70s, baby. Yeah. You see that? See how I did
that was good. You were good. You joined right in and didn't get hurt, which is good.
Yeah.
But Brandon Miller, talking to him today, he's just obviously he's confident in his ability, but he's a humble guy. That's my takeaway from spending some time with him earlier today. And he's all about the team. And we've seen some freshmen that come in with outstanding accolades, super talented, that more about me and what's ahead as opposed to about the group of guys he's with right now.
Well, I think that it's just a tribute to the coaching staff. They have a way they're going to do things. They hold guys accountable, and he's come in and he's embraced that. He's accepted it. He's a tremendous, tremendous player. Again, maybe the best one in the country, but he's humble. He shows up, he works every day, he makes his teammates better. I mean, this is why they're number one.
Alabama reached the 100-point mark for the 5th time this season. Their season high was 106 against LSU. They beat LSU 106-66. They beat Vanderbilt 101-44, and they beat Jacksonville State 104-62.
I think they're going to get it.
Cottrell can't get it to go. Here's Holt. He'll back it out to Roberts. Cottrell guarding him, swatted away by Pringle, but a foul in the process.
Boy, Pringle is impressive. Again, this is my first time seeing Alabama, but you hear so much about Clowney and Sears and Quinterly and Miller. You start seeing some of these other guys like Pringle, just physically how they look and then how they play. It's hard for me to, I don't know how there could be a better team in the country than this one. Now on any given night, anything can happen as we've seen, but boy, I would have to pick them as my favorite. If I had to pick one to win it all, I'd have to pick this one.
Pringle, by the way, is tied his career high with 17 points, also tied his career high with 11 rebounds. Nice corner three from Justin Hill. He's up to 14 points on 5 of 10, knocked home both of his three-pointers. He continues to play at an extremely high level for Georgia. Here's Griffin. That one won't go. That one does. Pringle keeps it alive. Jaden Quinterly gets it back to Pringle, who's putting up a career high 19 points today.
Big fella running the floor. All their bigs can run the floor.
Hey, tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern, we'll have a 3.5-hour recap of this week's SEC men's and women's swimming and diving championships. The Florida Gators have won the title 10 consecutive years. And the Lady Vols, they are your women's defending champs. That is Sundays, 7:30 Eastern time tomorrow night, right here on the ESPN app and the SEC network. Quinterly looking. Couldn't get it to go. M.A. Moncrief fouled. Alabama, after this one, they will get South Carolina on the road in Columbia. Here on ESPN2, and then this weekend they will host Arkansas, which should be a high-scoring affair. Nick Smith Jr., of course, a lot of arguments coming into this season. Who was the better of the guys, and in that conversation with Brandon Miller. And I'll tell you what, one of the things that's happened with Brandon Miller this year is he's shot up draft boards, and while he was expected to be a high pick, some projections have him as the number 3 guy.
Well, there's one dude overseas, and I can't say his name, but from France, who's 7'4" and plays like a guard. And even if I could remember it right off my top of my head, I would butcher it. But he's got him lined up. But whoever gets Miller is not going to be disappointed in the least with his ability to put it on the floor. And his ability to shoot it with that size. I mean, he fits in perfectly with what the NBA wants to do. And getting back to Arkansas, I mean, Nick Smith, they started him today. He played some minutes. They got some good minutes from Jalen Graham. I mean, that's a team that they have to get Nick Smith going. If they're going to do something significant, I think they're going to make the tournament. I think they'll, be formidable in the SEC. But if they're going to do something significant this year, Nick Smith's got to find his groove over these last 4 games of the year.
Well, that game will be Saturday with Arkansas. And, of course, I guess kind of turn your attention to that March 5th date at Texas A&M. Now, there's 3 games between now and that one. But that one could decide the SEC regular season champion.
And A&M's a team like Mississippi State who has given this team trouble. They defend you, they stay in front of you, they junk it up a little bit, they trap you. They can make it very difficult for you on the offensive end with all the things they can do defensively. And they're physical offensively. They go points in the paint. So it's kind of the recipe that when Alabama has struggled, and it hasn't been much, it's been turning the ball over, which A&M can make you do, and they can pound you in the paint. They're a physical team, so what I'm telling you is there's a chance.
Right.
But the big thing on that is where it's played. And if it gets to that point, A&M, that place will be off the chain.
Alabama has committed 23 fouls today. They've sent Georgia to the free throw line 30 times, but the Dogs just 13 of 30. Cottrell from the corner gets the 3 to go. Adam Cottrell with his second 3 of the year. And the chants of AC ring from the Coleman Coliseum rafters.
Good for him. Those guys, they do all the scout team work and all the stuff. And for them to get a chance to play and make a shot in front of 13,000, good for them.
You know, Alabama shoots it so well today, and everybody shot it well at shoot-around. Matter of fact, his coach, Nate Oates, said it was one of their best. They have this little drill in 5 minutes. How many threes can we get up? They try to get 80. He said they were up over, I think, 96 today. It was one of their best three-point shooting days. And he goes, I hope that transfers over. I think it has. They're 16 out of 34. They average 10 makes per game. And that'll do it. Alabama just dominates Georgia from the opening tap. 108 to 59, a 49-point win. Their 3rd SEC win by 40 or